So, hello everyone. Thanks very much for joining this session. Today, we're going to talk about members' lotteries, and they're just an amazing way to fundraise now. Really, really engaging. Um, and I always say they're starting to outpace the regular donation ask, members' lotteries. Like, really, really great. Okay. So, what I'll do, I'll share my screen. I'll go through setting one up, and as I go through setting one up, we can talk about like different use cases and whatnot. Okay, so here we go with screen share, and I'm going to set one up on people's fundraising. Cheryl, you've got your own branded platform, and Catherine, so have you as well. So it's exactly the same, obviously, but it's just a different look and feel. Okay, so log on to your control panel and scroll down to members lottery, and then let's create a members lottery. By the way, just what is a members lottery for people who don't specifically know? So a members lottery is a bit like a recurring raffle. That's ultimately what a members lottery is. So where a raffle is a one-time activity, but you can have different variations of raffles. So you can have high value raffles, low value raffles. You can have raffles that last for months. You can have 24-hour raffles and whatnot. A members lottery is a page whereby people either subscribe to the next draw, or they set up a recurring payment via Google Pay, Apple Pay, um, or direct debit, and then they're into the draw for the future. Okay. Now, the reason why we think it's starting to outpace the regular donation ask is related to engagement. So when you have a regular donation ask, your supporters, set up a direct debit or recurring Google Pay, Apple Pay, or debit card or credit card, and the money goes to them. And there's a lot of time very little feedback from yourselves of that regular donation. So the big change with members lottery is a couple of things. Firstly, somebody subscribing to the members lottery, have a chance of winning something. So in that, there's some cool engagement there. But just say you're running a members lottery and it draws every month. When the lottery is drawn, Cheryl wins the £500. Then, like, you're going out to your supporter base and you're saying, Cheryl's won the £500. Well done. And that in itself is an example of you are engaging with your supporter base, and people love that. So they like to know Cheryl won the £500, and then Catherine won, the £300 from last month, and whatnot, and it really invigorates the community. So hopefully, by those two descriptors, you can see that the members lottery in itself is way more engaging than somebody just giving a regular donation. Now, you still get the same money, but for your supporters, they just feel more engaged, more part of what you're doing. Okay. All right, so let's go through and set one up. So as ever, all of our pages have a page name and a page description. So our members lottery. And then all of our pages, you can display the total generated on the page, the total number of supporters who've purchased, and also the share button. And then every page has its own page address. So if you've got a branded platform, this will be something like fundraising.fostercare charity or, Age UK, and then the link. And also every page has its own QR code. So especially with the members lotteries, you're going to be socializing the members lottery page via your socials, Facebook, Instagram, X, WhatsApp groups, email groups, but also, especially if you have physical locations, get the QR code out there. So maybe you've got some Age UK shops, put the QR code in the shop window, put the QR code at checkout and whatnot, right? So really give people opportunity to access the page wherever they come from. Okay, so then you specify the draw frequency. In a similar way to raffles, whereby you can do 24-hour raffles or raffles that last a month, or you can do high value raffles or low value raffles, we allow you to present members lotteries in a lot of different ways. So although people just generally think of a members lottery as it will run each month. By the different frequencies you can set, you can have one that draws each day or each week or the standard each month or even each year. And what you want to do here is you don't necessarily just want to do one members lottery. You may want to present multiple members lotteries and give your supporters choice of which ones they engage in or with. Okay. So, for example, just take the year one. I think there's a Spanish lottery that runs every year, and it's drawn, I think, on New Year's, isn't it? It's called something like El Gordo or something like that, and it's just a massive event. Okay, and therefore you can replicate the same thing. You know, you're building up maybe the prize fund throughout the whole year, and then you're doing one massive draw with one massive prize. Again, it could be cash, it could be something else. Okay. Or you can do a daily draw. I mean, how cool is that? You know, different things will cater for different people. Okay, so let's just keep it to the month for the time being, and then you specify your draw date. Generally, when you have a month, the draw date will be at the end of the month, or it will be at the end of the quarter or end of the half for every 6 months. The system can also notify the winners of the draw as well. Now, although the system can do this, so essentially when the draw date comes, the system will allocate who's won what. And if you specify yes to that, the system will send out an email to the winners. We always say, even though you may set that, make it an engaging experience for the supporters. Still go out to the social, maybe give them a call and say, you know, well done, Mabel, you've won the £500. You know, really make it an interesting engagement. Fundraising is all about engaging your supporters. Okay, don't just think fundraising is about give us a donation and we're not really going to engage with it and then we're going to do our thing. Fundraising is about bringing your supporters along for the journey, you know, giving them an interesting experience. And so, yes, even though you may set this to yes because it's convenient, we always suggest still making an occasion of a draw, maybe on socials again, maybe give them a call and whatnot. Okay, so you can now specify the ticket price. And again, in a similar way, you can have different variations of raffles. You can also have different variations of ticket price as well. So the way I think about it is you've got, for example, what I call an accumulator lottery, but also you've got what I call a high value, high reward lottery. So what an accumulator lottery is maybe a lottery ticket is, you know, relatively low, quite, you know, £3, something like that. And you may have just loads of tickets to sell. Okay. And somebody can buy as many tickets as they want, just say 20 in this case. Okay. Now, especially when you've got sales start and end dates, if this goes on into the future, I think you may still have to specify one, but this just goes on into the future. Okay, and so there's no restriction on when people can buy, but you can understand this if what am I saying here? If your prizes are, say, the first prize is 40% of the prize fund, the second prize is 10%, and the third prize is 5%, you can see that you need, you know, quite a lot of people to generate quite a reasonable return. Okay, but again, what it does cater for, it caters to the people who just want to have a little bit of a game. They don't really care so much if they win or not. And maybe they've just got a small amount of money. But over time, you can see that can accumulate to really quite a reasonable prize draw. Okay, but it really caters to a specific type of person. Now, consider this. Imagine we change this to £30 now. Okay, so the question is, how many people are going to pay £30 for a ticket? Okay, now let's do something also different. Let's say there are only 100 tickets available. And let's also say that you can only buy your tickets in the month of February. Okay. Now, what this now becomes, and just say the first prize is, say, 50%, and then no other prizes. Okay. This now presents a scenario whereby if all 100 tickets are sold, um, each person buying those tickets has 1 in 100 chance of winning £1,500 each month. Okay. Now, if you do the national lottery or whatever, you realize 1 in 100 chance of winning £1,500 are absolutely amazing odds. You never get those sorts of odds anywhere. Okay. Now we're restricting it to 100 to make it more exclusive. Okay. Now, just say you've got a following on Facebook of like 5,000, 6,000 followers. Okay. What we're starting to suggest is if you're going to go down the members lottery route, why not do the accumulator and the high value, high reward at the same time? So again, the accumulator of the people who just want to give a couple of pounds, they don't really care about winning, they want to be part of the game. But the high value, high reward, and again, if you think about it's only 100 people, if you've got like several thousand on your like Facebook, X account and things like that, there will be enough people, I would suggest, to purchase like 100 of those tickets. The people who understand that 1 in 100 chance of winning £1,500 is amazing. And also, £30 is actually quite an average donation amount if you think about it. So instead of giving the regular donation, then you've now created a scenario whereby that regular donation turns out to be a very, very profitable game and an engaging game with your supporters. Okay. So really, really consider these different variations of members' lotteries. And as I said, think about maybe rolling out multiple at the same time. All right, so we're going to change this back to an accumulator style lottery. And there are loads of tickets. And we've got the end date is just way into the future. And then you put your promoter details. Promoter details are they required? No, they are required because it's gambling. So you need your gambling license for this, and you'll put your promoter details in here. The promoter details will appear on the page, and also when people buy their members lottery tickets, they're going to get an email with those promoter details. Okay. And so that's the basic setup of a members lottery now. Somebody's also already used this. And then I assign it to our campaign. Now, again, with people's fundraising, we always recommend to charities you should always be campaign focused. The example I always give is if you're a PTA, you could say one of our campaigns is we're raising money for new books for the library. Another campaign could be we're raising money for new playground equipment. Another campaign could be we're raising money for low-income families to support them through summer. So, as charities, you should really describe to your supporters the areas you're raising money for, give your supporters choice of those areas, and then you set up multiple different types of fundraising page to support those areas. So you're giving your supporters choice on multiple different levels, area they want to support you. So it's better to say we're raising money for 3 things this year than to say we're raising money for Age UK. Okay. Because people, again, it's always the case in fundraising. The more specific you make the fundraising ask, the more people engage with that fundraising ask because you're essentially describing where the money's going. So set up campaigns and then you link your pages to those campaigns. Now that may also mean that not only maybe do you have multiple different members lotteries, say an accumulator lottery and a high value lottery going at the same time, but just say you're running 3 campaigns throughout the year, you could have a members lottery for each of those campaigns. Or you could have a members lottery that the income from that is spread over that campaign as well. Okay. Right, so this is where you enter your prizes. Now, prizes can be anything at all. So typically what charities are doing, they're saying a prize is a percentage of the income generated over that period. So typically 40% of prize fund. You specify how many of these are there, win type, percentage, and value, and then you assign it to the page. Okay. Now, even with the prizes, you can link prizes throughout the period of the members lottery. So, for example, if you're doing the accumulator lottery again, and maybe the first prize is 40%, the second prize is 10%, and the third prize is 5%, that's what people generally expect over time. Now, maybe it comes to Christmas, and then you can add a prize just for the Christmas draw, which is another 10% bonus prize. Okay, and that just makes it really interesting. And then after Christmas, you remove that prize. However, the system will draw that extra prize. Or, for example, your accumulator lottery is going really well. You've got loads of people engaged, i.e., you've got a large audience for that members lottery. Maybe there's a local restaurant down the road who are supporting you. They understand there's a large audience and they say, look, can we contribute some prizes to it? So you say, yep, no problem with that. So they give you, I don't know, a meal for four. For the next draw, you add that meal for four as a prize. The system will then draw and allocate that prize to a winner, and then you remove that prize afterwards as well. So remember, prizes can be anything, and you can add and remove them over time. Okay. So let's have a look at what the page looks like. So this is a standard People's Fundraising look and feel. In here, you want to add your YouTube videos. You want to maybe add some images, a really nice description. I can turn this off and on. It says when the next draw date is, how much the ticket, and the prize is. Very straightforward. I can buy a ticket, single Google Pay, Apple Pay, or debit card. By law, you can't use credit card, and this is why we disable credit card and PayPal. And also you can set up a recurring payment with debit card or direct debit. Okay. Now, most people now pay with Google Pay, Apple Pay for making purchases. And so we would suggest that most people will actually start to set up payments with the recurring debit card. It's really, really fast. Recurring direct debit, you need to fill out you need to fill out 3 forms of information, and then it takes about a week or 2 weeks for the direct debit system to take the first payment. With recurring debit card, it's immediate and it literally takes seconds. Okay. Now, with the payment methods as well, you can also remove any of the payments methods that you want. So if you don't want people to just enter a single draw, you will remove the single payment methods. Okay, so therefore you're forcing people to, set up a recurring payment method. Okay. Now, as with all of our system, you can turn these things off and on dynamically. So you may say, throughout the year, we only want you to set up recurring debit card or recurring direct debit. Maybe you get to Christmas time and you've got, a couple of company and community partners add extra gifts to it. Then you can say, just for Christmas, what we're going to do, we're going to enable single payments, and therefore other people then can contribute to that draw. So again, it's really important to think about how you can dynamically change the experience over time to make it more interesting. So yes, it is one experience whereby you can say, this is an accumulator lottery, and we'll advertise who wins on our Facebook accounts, and that's it. But then again, you can make it more interesting by saying, we've got the Christmas coming up. We're going to allow people to, just enter it just for Christmas. And we've got these other prizes just for Christmas. Can you see how you can just make it way more engaging? Okay. Also, because I've set up the page, I've got the single offline and single offline bulk. That means that if people give you cash, check, bank transfer, you can also enter those people into the lottery as well. So, for example, if somebody gave me £30 worth of tickets with cash, and I enter some of those details, they are also into the draw. Now, there are 2 use cases for offline payments. The first one is, again, if people give you cash check, but we've got one branded platform, Women's Aid, whereby they were running a standing order based members lottery previously, and they've now moved over to ours. and people had paid for the full year with standing order. And so what they're doing is they've essentially shut down that members lottery, and every month they're uploading the applicable people into the lottery that had previously paid. So it's a really good way of converting over. All right. Right. So any questions at the moment, team? No. Okay. All right. So let's go on to how we can do some further updates on the system. So if we click on update here, as ever, we can change the theme of the page. The theme massively changes the look and feel of the page. So this is quite a nice Christmassy looking one, for example. You can add your own images into the page as well. If you add multiple images, an image carousel will appear. So let's just put one there. You can embed, for example, if you have an Instagram URL and you embed it there, the Instagram feed will appear in the page. If you have a YouTube share URL, the video will appear in the page as well. Okay, so let me just show that. Let me go to YouTube here. Right, I'm going to get one from foster care. If you bear with me. So if you want to embed a video, hopefully you can all see that. What you do, you go to the video, you click share, you copy that link there, and then you paste it in here, and then that YouTube video will appear in the page. There's a few more things you can do as well. You can embed PDF documents into the page. You can turn off and on payment methods. Remember, you can do this dynamically. So Christmas comes, you've added a few more prizes. You want people just to enter that draw. So you would therefore potentially enable single payments, or in this case, we could just disable single payments if we want people to only make single payments. You can even do things like age verification as well. So if the prizes are such that somebody needs to be, say, maybe 18 years or over, you can also enable that age verification check. So let's click update to that now. Press continue, and let's view that again. So again, I've got my new theme, I've got my nice images, and I've got a nice foster care charity video in it. I can add as many different prizes as I like. So that's one level of updates. And then just some other updates as well that you can do. When somebody purchases a ticket, they're going to go to a thank you page. So you can add wording to that thank you page as well. So the default thank you page, because I've themed it as well, just looks like this. Thank you for purchasing X number of members lottery tickets. Again, you can add wording to that page with a notification message. The idea behind that is every point of interaction with the supporter is an opportunity. You can have a further conversation with that supporter. You can direct them to the next point in the fundraising journey. So it could be something like, thank you very much for purchasing your lottery tickets. You've made an amazing impact to us. Click here to download our annual report. Or thank you very much for the members lottery. Did you know we've got an upcoming event? Click here to buy event tickets. Okay. Now, also, you can add an email notification message. So when people buy members lottery tickets, and when those tickets recur as well. So if they're on a direct debit or regular debit card, they will always get that you have purchased some members lottery tickets email. Okay. Now you can see the email template if you click help about, and you've got the members lottery ticket purchase email and the members lottery prize email. So if we look at this is the email template that's sent out to supporters. Okay, so it says, dear first name, And then this is where you can add your own wording on the page level. And again, it could be something like, thanks, you made an amazing impact. Click here to download the annual report. Or again, did you know we're running an event? Click here to buy tickets. Now, importantly here, because an email is sent out every time a direct debit is renewed or every time a debit card is recurred, this email will be sent out. So you can use this as a way of, it's in, the supporter's going to read it as conveying maybe something else outside the context of the members lottery. So that use this as an active communication channel with your supporters. Okay. And all you have to do is, that these supporters who have purchased items from the members lottery ticket are going to get these at maybe at the end of the month. So you just come here, you click here, add email notification message, and whatever you enter there will be within that email. Okay, so use it as an active communication channel. A lot of the time, this may be more, your supporters who are in this lottery may read this more than they may read a more passive Facebook post or email distribution. Okay, so you've got the notification message, and also you've got an email prize notification message as well. As ever, you can add a questionnaire to point of purchase or after purchase. You can add an e-card, and you can also short link it and tagging. So I think tagging is a very useful function in this context. What tagging does, it allows you to be able to identify from where people are scanning or clicking. So you have your members lottery. You've got a QR code in the shop window. You've got a QR code at the till. You send out the link in 3 different Facebook ads, 1 Instagram ad, and things like that. You've dispersed it everywhere. And so where are people clicking and scanning to make purchases? So therefore, in order to understand that, you create a tag. So just say you say Facebook ads 1. You create that, and then you post this to Facebook with the ad 1. And then when people click on that and they make a purchase, that data is stored against the purchase record. Okay, so then you can say this purchase came from or came as a result of the Facebook ad 1 or Instagram ad 1. You post that when you do your Instagram post, and then this Instagram ad 1 is stored on the purchase record. So you can say that 10% of purchases came from Facebook, 20% of purchases came from Instagram, and then you can make decisions based on that really important information. Okay, or you could say shop window X, maybe you have multiple shop windows, and then this is the QR code that you're then put in the shop window. When people scan that and made a purchase, you could therefore determine that 15% of people came from the shop window, or 5% of people came from the till. Okay. Now, the last use of this is also resellers as well. So say Nathan decides to be a reseller for this members lottery. You could then create a tag, give Nathan his own link and his QR code. When I go out and I engage with my family, friends, colleagues, and then people purchase, then you'll be able to tell that X amount of purchases came from Nathan and reward me appropriately. Okay, so tagging is super useful. It's really important. So tagging is actually more powerful than, say, is it Facebook Pixel and whatever the Google one is. The reason why is within those systems, you only know a supporter's path through those ecosystems. Okay, so you have no idea if somebody's coming from the shop window, right? If somebody's going from Google to Facebook, you have they're just totally different ecosystems. The important thing about tagging is you post to different locations on Facebook, on Google, on the shop window, and therefore people scan and click from the source, and the destination is their purchase. So it incorporates more than these Facebook pixel and Google Google tracking mechanisms, right? It's really useful tagging. Okay, so let's check out a few examples then of what people have been doing in the past. We Are Beams are doing quite a nice members lottery. So they've got a branded platform, a bit like yourself, Cheryl and Catherine. They do loads of fundraisers, actually. Look at this. Leaderboards, loads of leaderboards, auctions, donations, events, shops, more events, and this is their members lottery. So they've done a 50-50 lottery. So in actual fact, their intention was to do a 50-50 lottery. It has actually turned out to be that. So when I was chatting to them, maybe last year or something, about them setting up their members lottery, they said, okay, because there's not going to be a lot of initial people subscribing, because this is an accumulator style lottery, to the lottery, the prize won't be very large. So what they decided to do was they were going to have prizes of £100, £25, £25, and then once the prize fund was large enough, then they'll convert to a 50-50 lottery. But they've essentially stayed with this, which is quite interesting. So this is an example of the prizes can be anything you want them to be. Okay. Now, this is quite interesting also in itself. Again, it says when the next draw is, how much per ticket. I can add it to my calendar. I can go, and they've actually just stick with recurring direct debit. They need to add recurring debit card here as well. But also what they've done here is they're describing about their lottery, but interestingly enough, they are using the same page to describe who's won over time. Okay. And therefore, this page becomes a self-sustaining page. Okay. Yes, they would have gone out to their Facebook, Instagram, all of those sorts of social media stuff and says, like, Jacqueline won the £100 and Lisa won the £50. But they're using this now as a log of who's won over time. And therefore, people will come back to this. They'll refer to it. If you've got any updates, you can, talk about the updates. If you've got any new prizes, they'll see the new prizes as well. So again, use the page not just as a point of making a purchase into the members lottery, but also as an informational resource that supporters will come back to all the time. Okay. Again, fundraising is about communicating and engaging. Okay. And so this is a really nice thing that people are interested in, and they'll come back and refer to this on occasion. Okay. Let's check out some on people's fundraising. Find a fundraiser. Click here. Members lottery. So I have no idea what any of these look like. And this is the one that we've just created, by the way. So Bridgen lottery, £30 first prize. Again, very standard people's fundraising look and feel. This is a themed one. It looks like they've just started that. It looks like they've just started the lottery. Prize 15%, 15%. This is another one. Okay, looks like this is test. There's 0 tickets. Bursted Wood lottery, £1.20 a ticket. Again, prize 30, 10, 5. Bridgen's lottery high reward, £20 per ticket. So it looks like they're setting this up, which is quite nice. And again, this is an example of the prizes can be anything, anything. And so, yeah, it looks like they're doing the high reward lottery, but they're just setting it up. Okay, so team, any questions on that at the moment?
Hi, Nathan. Questions about the payment structure. So you set up the recurring debit card. Is there anything in there that allows them to only ask for 6 entries, or only be in the draw for a limited amount of time, or can you set that?
Yeah, so there's not at the moment, but whenever we send out an email notification to say that they've been renewed, within that email there's a cancellation link.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, to your point, we don't say, somebody can't say, okay, I'm going to just be in the members lottery for 6 months, but they can cancel at any point in time.
All right. And
Yeah,
they have to remember to do that through that reminder email that they get saying, hey, you've just bought another
that's
ticket
right.
this
Yeah,
month. Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, so let's go into some reporting now as well. So from the dashboard, as people buy lottery tickets, this will increment. Remember, by default, the quick statistics gives the last 2 weeks, so you need to modify the dates to see things over time. I can click on this or this, and that will take me to the income reports, and it will set the appropriate filters to just give me the members' lottery purchases. Okay, so if I click download, it will give me all of the raw data just for the members' lottery ticket purchases. But what else will give you? Remember, it will give me the purchase information, not the ticket information. So that means that if somebody buys one ticket at £3, there'll be one record produced by this report. If somebody bought 3 tickets for £9, there'll still be one record for that purchase saying £9. So what about the individual tickets? If that's of interest, you can come back here, you can click on this little icon here, and this will take you to the members lottery ticket purchase report, start and end dates. You click download, and then you get the specific ticket details. Okay. And I think that's it for members lottery. Very straightforward, very, very powerful tool, especially when you start to realize that yes, you can do that standard monthly accumulator lottery, but then you can present it as a high value, high reward one, which caters for a totally different demographic within your supporter base. You can change frequencies, you can add prizes, so it becomes a really, really beautiful, engaging experience for your supporters. Now, one last comment actually on members lottery is that we see quite a few charities now. They sign up with these very high value lotteries, whereby you can win £50,000 and £100,000 and whatnot. So we think that's a mistake charities are making. Now, the reason why is, and especially if you're doing one of these lotteries, you'll understand when somebody's signing up to one of these, £50,000 or so lotteries, essentially you're in a lottery not just with your community, but you're in a lottery with many other communities. Okay, so it could be foster care, it could be Age UK, it could be like 20, 30, 40 other charities. And therefore, what generally happens is that people never know who's won any prize, and also people rarely win prizes from those lotteries, and also the charity gets very little money from those in any case. The key thing with your members lottery is that it's a lottery that you present just to your supporter base. Okay, now that supporter base could be Leicester Town, it could just be your supporters online. But the important thing is just to your supporter base. It's not to your supporter base and 20, 30 other charity supporter bases. Now that's key because it's all about engagement. So you're presenting this to your supporter base. Again, when Cheryl wins the £500, you're going out to that supporter base. Yeah, Cheryl's won the £500. Not only are you engaging and invigorating your supporter base, but people actually know Cheryl because she's part of that supporter group. And therefore, you go from yes, somebody can win £50,000, but nobody ever really wins that. And what do you actually win these high value ones? You go from a less engaging experience to an actively engaging experience, even though potentially people are, they haven't got the possibility of winning, say, £50,000. However, especially if you do the high value, high reward ones, ultimately, your supporters may also win more over time as well. Okay, so just think about that, especially if you're doing one of these big £50,000 lotteries. Okay, that's it from me.
Sorry,
Catherine, yes.
another question
Yeah, perfect.
on the communication side of things. So you have to have the gambling license in order to run the lottery.
Yeah.
Are there any guidelines around how we have to communicate with people who have signed up to the lottery?
Not that I'm aware
You
of.
know,
I
the
don't think
basic
there's.
GDPR stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think there's a prescribed communication mechanism. What we do on the platform, we make sure that, for example, people can't sign up with credit card, but you need to be you can be as engaging or not as you want. And again, the platform tries to help out with that engagement. So when somebody buys a ticket, they're going to get an email with all their details. When that ticket's renewed, they're going to get another email with the new details. Now, we also provide the ability, you can add extra wording to that and things like that. So we're giving you the tools that you can be as engaging as you want to be. We suggest be more engaging than not. The more engaging you are, the more people will play the lottery, and more people will play the lottery as well, because people are talking about the lottery because it's engaging. Yeah. It's no different from, you're interested in somebody who has something interesting to say. You're not interested in somebody who has nothing to say. Okay.
Okay.
Nathan, just
Yes.
regards to the payments, how does if when someone wins a prize, do you handle the prize payment, or
Okay.
do we do that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. So, the only when you're setting up the members lottery, just say you've got accumulator lottery, the only thing you need to do is make the payment. Okay. So what the system will do is you set up your draw date. The system will, and so the minimum effort you need to put into a members lottery is this: make the payment. Now, beyond that, you could just literally do nothing else within the lottery. So you just say you set up a monthly lottery, the system will allocate who's won what, notify the winners. It will reset the next draw date. It will select new payments. It will draw again. It will allocate who's won what, and it will email the winners. And then you just log into the platform, and then from the report section, you download the members lottery prize report, and then you contact them and make the payment. So that's the minimum that you need to do on the platform. Now, the reason why we've done it that way is because now the UK government require all sorts of information when it comes to paying people. Okay, so if your supporters wanted to be paid, they would have to upload their bank details and passports and things like that. And so we thought that's just going a bit too far. I think there's it's okay for charities to do it, or we still think that's a bit of a government overreach and a bit too much. But for your supporters to do it, to get everyone to do that, we just thought it's better that you take on that relationship, and then you pay them appropriately. Now, also with that, it means that you're going to have to engage with your supporters. So we think that's a good thing in any case. But there are also going to be some situations where your supporters say just keep the money as well. Yeah. But yeah, to your point, that's the thing that you have to do within the system. You have to make the payment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right, ladies, Mabel, Cheryl, Catherine, Laura, any other questions today? No. Okay, well, thanks very much for your time. Just reach out if you want to set up a members lottery, and you want to throw around some ideas. As ever, we're always here to help. But yeah, thanks for the time.